Today on Brilliance Business TV, we have the wonderful Sammy Blindell. Sammy is the ripple maker and the brand builder. Sammy is a multi-award-winning international speaker, 7 times best-selling author, Brand Builders Club CEO and founder of One Drop Movement. Having spent 13 years in branding before launching her first business in 2002, Sammy built 5 more companies in the business growth sector. She launched her online branding resource in 2014, taking it to £18,000 per month in 12 weeks, building significant wealth before turning 40. Sammy launched Brand Builders Club in 2017, creating more than 1,000 plus online courses and products. She now shows others how to accomplish what she has accomplished in just a few months. Stay tuned. Welcome to, I was just going to say, welcome to Brand Builders TV, Sammy, that's yours. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and today we have a wonderful guest. She's my friend, one of my mentors. She's a business partner, Sammy Blindell, the brand builder. We are streaming live on mspnewsglobal.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and we're also streaming through the E360 TV network on Fresh Takes, going live to Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, Roku, many more. I just want to give an official shout out to our official show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills Luxury Watches and Fine Jewelry at craigshelley.com. So who would like to know how it is possible to earn £18,000 per month? Who wants help building their brand? Who wants to make ripples in the world and make an impact? Let's bring our guest into the show, Sammy Blindell. Hey, Sammy.
Hello.
Welcome
to the branding, the ripple boat. It's branding. We're making ripples, and we're setting sail, guys. So pleased to be here.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Sammy. Sammy, you really are a visionary entrepreneur. You support your community. You don't just have one community, you have all these little communities going on, making impacts in the world. You help people to build their brands, build their visibility, anything to do with entrepreneurship where you may be struggling, you have resources for it. We have so much to cover today. I would like to start going backwards a little bit, because I know you have had a journey of burnout and reasons what has led you to where you are today. So can you share a little bit of your background and what has led you to where you are today?
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, such a history, such a variety of challenges and ups and downs and sideways and hard knocks and celebrations. It's been quite a wild ride. And one thing I would say is that the best thing that I ever did was to really own who I am, to really own my identity, to own the value that I bring to the world, to own the gift that I have, to own the impact I want to make, and to own my lane as a brand. And that is the key to really showing up and shining in the way that you want to shine. One thing that I see so many people make the mistake with is that they build a business just because they can, but they don't really think about the ripple of impact that they want to make in the world first. So I'm that girl. We work out, like, what's my one drop? What is the ripple effect that I want to make in the world? And then we brand it. And the key thing that a lot of people say to me, Mark, and I was talking about this on another show earlier, is I don't need a brand until I've got a big corporate company, or when I've got this big business, then I'll think about branding. But we're all a walking, talking, living, breathing, eating, sleeping brand. You don't need to have a business to have a brand. If you're the happiest person in the room, that's your brand. If you're the grumpiest person in the room, that's your brand. But what is the brand that you want to take out to the world? What ripple effect is it that you want to make? And then you can start branding that.
Great point, Sammy. And you are right. People think they build the brand once they've built the business. But I know from personal experience, I was in entrepreneurship 4 or 5 years before I became a brand builder. I learned so much within a couple of weeks with the way I was showing up, my messaging, all my graphics, the way I was showing up in the world, my belief in myself. And I think people do need to do those steps the other way around, because I feel if I had have had that before I started to try and guess on my own, I could have got to where I am now a hell of a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Now, you have shared a little bit. I still want to go in a bit more detail. Tell us about the struggles and obstacles that you've been through, Sammy, to get to this level.
Isn't this a half an hour show?
Well, we've got longer than half an hour, actually.
Okay. Well, I mean, you want to go right back. I started my first business in 2002, having been made redundant from the job that I had. And I had a choice. It was either have somebody control of my money again, and not know if that company was really doing its best to stay alive. I didn't know anything about business back then. But what I did know was I could see what failing businesses look like. And I worked for 2 of them as an employee. And when it happened that final time, it was almost like a third time lucky. I just could see that the writing was on the wall for what they were doing. And I thought, they're over trading, trying to look better than they are, spending more money than they have, trying to build a team, bringing designers and strategists in that they couldn't afford. And it was just, I could see it happening again. And it's actually quite a big thing in the design industry. It happens quite a lot. And as a designer, which is what I came through as, I started off as a graphic designer and started focusing on branding. But then I got really interested in the psychology behind why somebody is interested in a brand anyway. So it went beyond that. And so I started to really study the art of language and powerful, compelling language, neuro-linguistic programming, compelling content, customers' buying behavior, compelling psychology. I started to, color psychology, look at all of the reasons why somebody would have a tactile experience with your brand without you even opening your mouth. And so I started to really become well known in that. So as a result of being made redundant, I thought, it's time to start up my own business and have control of my life. and control of where my money comes from. So I started out in 2002 with what I call a business owner mindset.
Yes.
So I'd gone from an employee to a business owner, but I had the mindset of how can I? So how can I make money? How can I build this business? How can I build my team? How can I create my first product? How can I, it was all how can I? And I built that first business. And I realized that I actually really loved business. And it was a skill that I didn't realize I had before. And I had a really good skill for connecting people. And so I started going networking for the first time. And I was thriving. I was like, I could just see, oh my gosh, I just met this guy. Like 2 minutes before, I just met this guy. You need to go and talk to him over there because you two have got something in common. You should be working together. And I started building, I suppose, a community back then when I had no idea what I was doing. And then I launched because I got fed up of networking. There's only so much networking you can do before you then realize the value of your time. And by that point, I knew who I was. I was owning my identity, but I wasn't owning my value. So I really learned the hard way that when you don't value your time, then no one else is going to. So that was my next lesson. So I started to go through a process of, well, where am I spending my time? Who am I spending that with? And, am I having the right conversations with the right people? And I realized that I was having, £10,000 conversations with £10 investors.
Yes.
And so I started to get really clear around, well, hang on a minute. If I'm going to make an enormous impact, I can't be doing that if the people I'm working with have a business owner mindset. Because by that point, I started to realize, actually, I've got an entrepreneur's mindset. I'm focused on how can you change your life as a result, rather than how can I change my life by selling you something. So I started to really own my value, which took me on a journey of, well, hang on a minute. Why am I networking in all these places? Why don't I just take the top 50 people that I'm referring good business to, and they're reciprocating, they're referring good business back to me. So it's a win-win relationship, not a take-take or a give-take. And I thought, okay, so they've got the givers gain mentality. They are a one drop. They're making ripple effects in the world as well. So I invited 50 business owners to join me one night in Malmaison in the center of Leeds. It was in April 2007. And so I'd been building my companies by about 5 years by that point. And I got these business owners together in a room and said, look, I've got a unique synergy with each and every one of you. So surely you have a synergy with each other. We share the same values. So let's see what value we can create by partnering. So that was back in April 2007. What I didn't realize then was I'd created my first membership. Within 7 months, I'd turned that into a business development academy. And we used to meet once a month. I'd bring experts in. I ended up selling that business in 2011 to franchise because it was ready to franchise. It needed to franchise. And I certainly didn't have the capacity or the knowledge to do that. So I sold that business 2011, which is amazing because that's still going. And I see that still operating up north, which is really cool. And so what I didn't realize was that I'd then started to really own my value. But then I created quite a big agency. We had a lot of money going through that agency, millions of pounds, dollars, and euros flying through that agency, great retainers, lots of money coming in. Because what I realized was we went through a process of thinking about selling that business. And when we brought a coach in to guide us and advise us on that, he said, your business is worth nothing. We said, what do you mean? We've got all these millions coming through the business. He said, yeah, but if you switch the business off tomorrow, it's not worth anything. You wouldn't have any money coming in. We're like, crikey. Okay. So then we need to focus on how do we get monthly money coming in? So we launched a magazine. We launched different retainer type products, hosting, domain names, all the like social media packages and things, started to look at membership. So we then created a business that was built on a solid foundation of cash flow. So all these lessons were like, okay, where's the gift in the business? So that's when I started to focus on where are the gifts that we have? Because if somebody comes to us for branding, I want to make sure I never see that client for branding again. Like I want to brand them as they're going to be, not as they are, because they're just going to keep changing and evolving. So we'd see them and they were like, okay, well, if we're creating their branding, we're not going to see them again. What else can we help them with? And once they had their brand, they were still invisible. They needed to drive business to themselves. So that's when we launched the magazine. And so we started to put subscriptions and memberships in place, which is how I really learned that. That's when I learned the gift in your business is not you. And also, the gift inside you is the thing that needs to be woven through it all, so that it's a steady, consistent brand, like the dripping tap effect, as they say. So that's when I mastered the gift. And then I got to the point where we were really doing very well in that company, but my business owner or my business partner, he just collapsed through stress, because by that point we built 5 companies. We were running 5 businesses at the same time, doing really incredibly well, flying high, everything that money could buy, but none of the things that I really wanted that money can't buy. I wanted a family. I suppose you could buy them if you wanted to, but I didn't want to go down that route. I wanted to, I'd been birthing brands. I wanted to create a relationship, and one that I was really proud of. And I was ready for it. And I just thought, look at this picture. I've got everything, all this money coming in. The I made it moment with my dream home, the I made it moment with my dream car, but no time to spend in them because I was working 18 hours a day. I'd found what I thought was my gift, but it wasn't. It was the gift of the business. And my heart was letting me know, there's a bigger purpose for you, Miss Blindell, and you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. You've learned and mastered some things. You're going to use those later. But right now, that's not for you. And ultimately, I burned out, and it took me a long time. I would say that because I didn't realize how burned out I was. And that was back in 2013. I would say that's still nipping me now. That's still nipping me now because, you go through that process of, fortunately, not clinical burnout, because I have Brand Builders Club members that have gone through clinical burnout, and it's taken them years. They haven't been capable of doing anything until now. Fortunately, I was still functioning. It was like a functioning burnout. And I just got to the point where I thought, no, enough's enough. I ended up walking away from my £8 million business and just went to France. My mum and dad had moved out there years before. I thought, you know what? I don't want to go into business again. If being in business means being busy and not having a life and not having the things I really want, well, then money isn't worth it to me. And I just ended up rejecting money completely. So I went from one scale to the opposite scale, which led me to France, which led me to healing over there. And then, of course, you've got nothing to do and you're just hanging around, and you've got a creative brain, and the entrepreneurial tap, tap, tap starts coming along. And that's when I realized, actually, impact was the thing that I was here for. It wasn't to make money. It was for purpose. So instead of chasing the profit, why don't we focus on purpose and see what happens with that? And that's how I ended up launching my very first book and product and program. And that's how I went from 0 to 18,000 a month in 12 weeks with the first program. Because I was owning the impact I was there to make. I was focused on the impact. And of course, income follows impact. And I hadn't even thought about that bit. And that's when I learned about impact and how we can really take that message out to the world when you've got that consistent focus, the heartbeat, the one drops, here's the ripple I'm here to make. I'm really clear about that. Now we need to own our lane for that ripple, which is how I then mastered that, which took me all around the world. And we built How to Build a Brand all over, ended up in documentaries and speaking on big stages all over the world. In fact, you and I met because we were both speaking on the same stage. And Brand Builders Club launched off the back of something I did for a bit of fun. And then all of a sudden that was a global business. And then we were traveling all over the world, launching Brand Builders in Atlanta and New York and Brisbane and Johannesburg and Cape Town and all over Europe and Holland and London. And it was just constant flights. I was always on a plane or a train going somewhere. But again, that was taking me away from home. So this last year has been a brilliant time to just embed back into, okay, so I was busy getting busy again. And now I've been able to really focus on how I've created the steady streams of income. We sold everything. We bought a boat. We now travel full time, working from home. We run 3 global businesses. We've got 2 global movements that are being built from this boat. My husband's launched a global movement as well. And I tell you what, I've never had so much fun actually working from home. And to me, like, I feel like I am living my life to back up the words I say. So I'm in complete alignment. And when I work with a client to help them own their identity, own their value, own their gift, own their impact, and own their lane, that's when we can then take them into the building of the brand, which is where you were already at that stage. When you joined Brand Builders Club, you were owning all that already. And it's just a little shaping piece, and then projection, absolute catalyst.
Yes.
And that's the bit that I just love the whole process. I love the whole process, and seeing people go through it is just incredibly empowering to me. And I just want to do more of it because I love it so much. And I love seeing the physical transformation, which I never could when I was working with corporates. You're making a marketing manager look good. Now I can see you with your TV show. I can see the progression and the results of being that catalyst. So it's very rewarding.
Firstly, thank you for sharing, because it just gives the viewers a real feel of the journey you have been on, what has led you to where you are today. Just picking up on a few things what you have said, the power of words. Now, in the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey, I didn't realize the power that words have when you're using them. Also, knowing yourself and being yourself when you are building a brand. Like, little mistakes I was making was being a little bit serious because I'm working with people in business when I am actually a fun guy, and I was trying to be professional and keeping the fun out of it. And it's about owning who you are, and also listening to your intuition was a good example of what you have shared as well, in that when something is getting on top of you, where you may be struggling or burning out, listen to that intuition, because the universe can be guiding you into a better direction. Now, we are coming to a commercial break, Sammy. So after the break, I really want to talk about Brand Builders Club, and we've got lots of other things like One Drop I want to touch on, and also Ripple Fest as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in to part 1. We're here with Sammy Blindell, the brand builder, the ripple maker. She has shared her past obstacles that she has faced. She has shared a little bit about her business, but we will go more into detail after the commercial break. Join us in 1 minute. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV. I'm your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we are joined by the incredible Sammy Blindell. Before the break, she shared her journey, the struggles that she has overcome, and how she has created success not only for herself, but the communities that she looks after as well. Sammy, welcome back to Brilliance Business.
Hello.
So I want to get into the next question, and I want to start with brand builders. Tell our audience, what is Brand Builders Club?
Wow, Brand Builders Club is the world's most inclusive and dynamic business mastermind for entrepreneurs and visionary business owners who want to expand their brand and create a ripple of impact that has a global effect.
And entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, once they come into the club, I know some of these answers because I've been through the process, Sammy. What will they get from joining Brand Builders? What do they have access to?
Yeah, well, there's so many things that happen in Brand Builders that what we do is we take each person individually through the program. Every brand builder, they're assigned an ambassador, and they get me one-to-one. So with Brand Builders Club, it is something that we have an invitation only process to, so people apply to be a part of it because it is an acceleration program, right? People that come into brand builders, if I'm going to commit my time and sow my time into the members that come through that process, I want to make sure that they're ready for that. Because what they were going to do, we're going to first of all cure Brandalism. There's four main things that we do at Brand Builders. The first is we cure Brandalism. Brandalism is where what you say and what people see and what they hear and what they read are different. Every time you open your mouth, something different comes out. So first of all, we cure that problem. So we go through a process of not only working on you as the personal brand, but then also working on the business brand. And how do you create something that's in complete alignment so that you are growing at the same pace that your business is as well? Because it's one thing to hide behind the business, but if you're a visionary business owner, it's more than likely you're going to need to start opening your mouth and speaking on stage and creating your own TV shows, which is part of what we do. So to me, that person has got to be ready. So we cure Brandalism so that everything is shaped. Every part of that brand identity of the person and the business is in complete alignment so it can hold its shape as it grows. Branding you as you are rather than or as you're going to be rather than as you are, so that you can grow into the brand rather than grow out of it and have to do it all again. Like I said earlier, we want one-time branding so that it grows with you. Once we have mastered that, so that's the first piece, and that usually happens within the first 4 weeks. So it's a quick process. So we work on that. So we cure Brandalism. Then we cure invisibility, because now you've got this incredible in alignment brand. You've got the branding. It's ready to go. Now we've got to let people know about it. And so we have Brand Builders TV, Brand Builders Magazine, Brand Builders Podcast. We've got Brand Builders Summits. We have the Brand Builders Clinic. We have lots of opportunities for our members to speak. So we help to get our members onto stages, help them to turn their mouth into money. And we've got 30 different mentors in Brand Builders Club, you being one of them, that support our members at each stage. So even though there are over 100 members in there, each and every one of them is on a personal journey. So it's not just to kind of throw you in like a grenade and off you go. We've got an online learning center that we can guide people to that's got over 1,000 mini courses and masterclasses in it that I've personally been involved in making. So I know the quality and the standard is super high. And so if somebody's going through a journey and we've already got training, we'll guide them to it. And if that training doesn't exist, I bring the experts in to make it, as I've brought you in several times, Mark, to deliver training. So once we've gone through that process, you've now got a shaped brand, you're highly visible. Now you're getting inquiries. They're coming in from everywhere. And that creates another problem. Now you've got to systemize. You've got to systemize. Otherwise, you're not going to know which way is up. You're going to miss opportunities. Your business will hemorrhage money because you can't possibly be having a million conversations at the same time, but your business could be. So now we start to create product. We start to take what you know and turn it into things that you can grow and make money from, and which is a very easy process if you're taken by the hand through that process. I've got 23 people going through that process right now, and I'm there 7 a.m. every morning. What's next? What's next? We're masterminding and helping each other. Like, they're all supporting each other to make sure it's the right name for the product, that people are going to buy it, that they know exactly what the unique selling points of that product are. And if it doesn't make sense to the audience, we work on it until it does. And then they've got a pitch that they can go out and start creating things that are making money for them relentlessly, even when they're on a TV show being interviewed by someone. And I can see I've got payment notifications coming in on the screen of my phone while I'm talking to you. It's because I got off my asset and I turned that into assets, and they work for me even when I'm not working. And the fourth piece is, now you've got the money. What do you do with that money? You don't want to be giving it all away in tax or, just frittering it away. There are things that you can then do for good with that money. And one of the things that I like to do is to really focus on charity and giving back and paying forward. And so we launch, we've got the Brand Builders book as well. We've got, you're in the next book. We've got the next book that's launching. We'll launch 4 Brand Builders books called The Law of Brand Attraction each and every year. So there's a lot of things that are going on. And so it's about really shaping the brand, but then expanding that and accelerating it. And we hold your hand as you build your brand. What we found is that there's a lot of people that want to come into Brand Builders Club that are not ready, because they don't know what that ripple of impact is. They maybe have an idea. They maybe have an idea of the direction, or they can feel the calling in their belly, just like I did. Feel the calling in their belly that there's more to life than this. There's got to be some other way that I can run my business and not have to kill myself working all the hours God sends me just so that I can put a roof over my head. Yes. And so we have a different process, and that's called Ripple Fest,
which I do want to touch on. That's what I want to touch on a little bit later. So I think
we'll come back to that.
That's a good place to come back to. You've summed that up beautifully. I would just add a few little things. Whatever level you are at, whether you're new to entrepreneurship, social media, business, or whether you are high profile or high performance, personal development, tools, a club, it doesn't matter what level you are at, because there's always that next level to get to. Also, the amount of collaborations and joint ventures, because as brand builders, we work together, we use each other. And I mean, Sammy, I have grown within, I think I've been with you now about 7-8 months. I'm just guessing
not
there.
Even a year.
And it's fast. You can do things a lot quicker. We support each other. So the collaboration side, the friendships and the opportunities that do come for it are incredible as well. So I want to go down the journey into Ripple Fest shortly, but I just want to briefly touch on, what is this around your neck? Tell us all a little bit about your beautiful one drop necklace.
Thank you. Well, that is a nice segue to Ripple Fest, because it's kind of how it all came about. Back in 2002, when I started my first business, and we touched on that a little bit earlier, I had no idea what I was doing. And I went on this course I think I was learning about money and accounting or something. And it was so boring. I didn't take any notice of what was going on, but the guy running it must have thought I was his best student, because I took so many notes during that presentation, and he will never to this day know why. Here's why. Before he started his presentation, he put a slide up on the screen, and it said this: individually, we are one drop. Together, we are the ocean. And I looked at that and I thought, one drop? Am I a one drop? Is he a one drop? Are we all a one drop? What is a one drop? Together we are the ocean. So does that mean that if we work together, then we create bigger things? And I started to just go down. I was making loads of notes. By the end of that session, I was like, right, that's how I'm building my business. I'm going to be a one drop. I'm going to be a one drop. I'm going to be, and I'd worked out, what is a one drop? What does it stand for? Well, it stands for kindness. It stands for being a ripple effect for somebody else. It stands for being grateful, gracious, generous. And I just worked out, like, what are the things that I want my one drop to stand for? If I'm a one drop, what do I want that to mean? And I ultimately built all of my businesses very quickly. And I'm sure I did it because of that one drop philosophy. Like, how can I be that fierce ripple maker for somebody else? And especially in the branding industry, I didn't want to just design things. I wanted to create a ripple of impact and see the ripple of impact. I didn't just want to be the ripple in the pond, or the stone in the pond, the pebble in the pond. I wanted to be able to see the ripples that were made from that as well. So I just set out on that journey. And then back in 2018, I was on a documentary called Awakening Giants. And at the end of the documentary, so this is like, what's that, 2002, so 16 years later. And there I am, I'm in San Diego, and my friend Lynn is taking me to LA airport to fly back home. And she said, there's no point leaving now. Traffic's going to be terrible. Let's just, go hang out for a little while. And we ended up in this little shop, and I saw this pendant that had a drop. It was like a teardrop. And I nudged my friend Lynn and I went, Lynn, it's one drop. She said, what's one drop? So, what do you mean, what's one drop? You don't know what one drop is? She said, no. I said, individually, we're one drop. Together, we're the ocean. She said, what is that? So I told her about it, and she went, oh my God, and you've been doing that 16 years. I said, yeah, I thought everyone knew about it because it was on a slide. It was public. Like, everyone knows about it, don't they? She said, no. And basically, I've been waking up every day before I even open my eyes. Okay, channel me. Who am I going to be the ripple effect for today? Who's going to be my chosen ripple effect so I can be the ripple maker for them? And I was doing this completely thinking it was something that everybody did. Well, I'd never run a business before. I thought that's what you do. So I then started to talk to people about it, and they started to ask me about the pendant around my neck. And I thought, I need to get a lot of these, because I had a lot of people asking me for them, but I couldn't find them anywhere. And I was finding them, but no two were the same. And I thought, well, one drop's got to be one drop. So it's one drop, but it stands for something different on every single person that wears it. But unified, we've got one unified symbol that brings us together. So I fly over to Palm Beach. This was January last year, so January 2020, and I'm speaking at this event. And I go and stay with my friend Leisha for a few days in Orlando afterwards before I come back. And we're sitting there having lunch, and I'm sharing what happened at this event. So here's what happened, right? So I'm at this event, and I've got one drops kind of nibbling at me, like poke. Like, no, I'm too busy. I'm running brand builders. Just go away. I haven't got time for that idea. And I keep just pushing the intuition away, right? And then I'm at this event, and one of the speakers at the event says something like, what impact is it you want to make this year? And I thought, oh, impact. I like that word. Yeah, they're speaking my language. So I wrote down what impact I wanted to make. And then they said, and what are you going to do as a result of that impact? Like, this is about something bigger than you. And I thought, you're right. This is about something bigger than me. So what am I going to do with this? Because this has got to be about more than what we create for ourselves. And I just had this download, which I just thought was completely ridiculous. And I had no idea what I was going to do with it. And I'm telling Leisha about this. She's like, what happened? What happened? I said, I got this download. I said, it's ridiculous. The download is that I'm going to bring together, I'm going to unite 1 million one-droppreneurs for the purpose of co-creation. And I'm going to get them to invest $1 a month to fund ideas worth funding. Of like, I travel around the world and I see all these businesses that are struggling. They've got amazing ideas, but money is the thing that is stopping them from getting going. What if we created this amazing collective, this one drop movement, where each of us, $1, one drop to invest in somebody else's success? And then when they're successful, they become part of it and they invest their $1. And just imagine the success of that. And she's like, you've got to do this. And I said, well, how the heck am I meant to do it? I can't even get 2 one drops and I need 1 million of them. Where am I going to get that? And she said to me, this is a problem. Yes, this is a problem. And then she said, but doesn't your mum have a glass fusing studio over in France? I said, yeah. She said, can't she make them? I will, maybe, right? So she goes, get your mum on the phone now. So I get my mum on FaceTime. I'm in America. She's in France. I'm like, Mum, do you think you might be able to make 1 million of these? And she just looks at me and she went, only you could ask me that, but I'll give it a go. So anyway.
Not all in one go.
Not all in one go. There's no way. Well, anyway, the next 11 months, my mum was making one drops pretty much every day. And because the drop that I'd found, it wasn't really the right shape. And I wanted to, I don't know if you can see it here, that when it catches the light, I wanted it to shine. I wanted it to be over that communication area. I want to give every brand a voice. And so it needed to be something that really shone. And it couldn't have a load of bubbles in it. We tried, they had bubbles in it, or they were the wrong color, or they were the wrong shape. And God bless my mum, she really stuck with it. So I'm in England. She's like, we're shipping this really expensive glass over to my mum in France. She's making these one drops. Finally, she sends me this batch of one drops. And I'm like, you've got it. You've absolutely got it. I'm celebrating. I'm like, wow, right. Okay, now we've got to make 1 million of them. And she went, you must be joking. She said, I'm grinding these bloody things by hand. She said, I can't make 1 million of these things. You'd be lucky if I could make 10 of these a week. And I was like, oh, not scalable. Okay, another problem. How do we make this scalable? Exponential, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, and I phoned my mum back. I said, is there no way, like, what if we could get glass shipped to somebody who could laser cut them to roughly the shape? I said, because I know they're not going to be the shape. As soon as they go in the kiln, they do their own thing, right? So you can't guarantee, like, if you're doing this by hand. So why don't we get them laser cut to roughly the shape, and then you put them through all the processes they've got to go through to become luminescent and all the things you do with them, and then we fire them. If we could do that, would you be able to make them exponentially? And she said, yeah, well, no problem. I could get hundreds of them in the kiln then. It's like, right, every week, right? So we managed to find somebody, and we ended up getting these massive sheets of really expensive glass shipped to this. We were biting our fingernails. We were like, oh my God, you know how much one of those sheets of glass is? And if they mess this up, like, that's a lot of money gone. Anyway, they didn't. They created these 1,000. Our first 1,000 one drops got shipped over to my mum. She did all these things. It took us some time to get through all 1,000. But we managed to launch One Drop Movement. And as a result of that, we've now got key rings. She's making the lapel badges. So my husband's currently stress testing the lapel pins. So we've got all kinds of things. We've got people that are asking for rings, charms, all kinds of stuff. And then people started saying, tell us about this mantra that you're doing in your head every morning. Like, we want to do it as well. And I thought, oh gosh, all right, well, okay, maybe I'll put it out there. And I ended up creating my first meditation, and everybody loved it. And they were like, we need more. Oh God, so I turned all of that. We've now got over 30 different one drop meditations for people who might be scared of getting their voice out there. So we've got a public speaking meditation that's all through that one drop energy. Who is it that you're going to make your ripple of impact on? So we've got a meditation for your ideal customer. We've ended up creating, based on what people have told us, the issues are that are stopping them from making that ripple of impact. I'm like, right, no, we're going to go for it. We're going to create whatever you need to get it out there. And so we created journals now to go with the one drops. I mean, it's just turned into a whole product business. My mentor said to me, Sammy, do you realize you've now created a product business as well? I was like, oh, so we've got T-shirts, we've got all kinds of stuff. And so that's kind of how we went into the next step. And I don't know whether you're ready to talk about that yet?
I am certainly ready to talk about that. We're coming up to the last 6 minutes, Sammy.
Yeah.
Now, just beautiful. I've really got a feel of the journey you have been on, your background. We've gone into detail about the business you've built, the communities you've built. We've learned about Brand Builders Club, the One Drop movement. But then again, you was on that listening to your intuition, feeling scared, knowing you've got this big idea, but you're the brand builder and you want to be a ripple maker. But you did take that step and they've combined lovely now. Just share with our audience about the Ripple Fest and you being now a ripple maker as well, and that
Thank
little
you.
journey as well.
Yeah, gosh. Well, that was, I used to think that meditation and soul purpose and all those things were really fluffy. You wouldn't have got me using that kind of language 10 years ago. But I now totally submit. I'm obedient to the flow. As when it comes in, no longer do I say, no, I haven't got time for that. Like, I'm too busy with this. I haven't got time for that. Now I go, okay, I'm going to journal that. And I get quiet. And I get quiet a lot. Like usually my husband is like, when you get quiet, I get worried. Now when he sees me journaling, he's like, aha, right, something beautiful is going to birth here, right? So I'm journaling back in November, just a few months ago. And I'm sitting there and this amazing idea comes to me. It's like, how am I going to start getting these 1 million people together? Because it's got to start somewhere, right? And I thought, why don't we create some kind of fun festival, something where we're creating ripples of impact and everyone gets to bring their ripple into it so we can collaborate, we can champion each other and do it to a process. And so I thought, what if I shared the process? On day one, how do you own your identity? Because if you don't own your identity, then you can't go into day two and own your value. And if you don't own your value or your identity, then you definitely can't go into day three and own the gift for why you're here. And then that's not going to work if you get to day four and you're not then owning your impact. And day five, well, that's where you're owning your brand and your lane. So that's what we did. So we kind of threw a bit of a party for a week and I brought movement makers that I've been on stages with and documentaries with, and I brought them all together for a week. And we just had a blast. And everybody that went through that program came out the other end. I had clients that have been with me for years who had already accelerated. They thought that was it, right? And then they go through Ripple Fest and they're like, oh my God, I've just met a whole new level of myself that I didn't realize I was capable of being. And it just was, I've got goosebumps all over me, right? I was seeing the transformations just happen before my eyes. So they said, when's the next one? So everyone from Ripple Fest 1 came to Ripple Fest 2. And they both then came to Ripple Fest 3. And then next week, we're running Ripple Fest 7. And the transformations that are happening are just spectacular. So each Ripple Fest, we look for 100 visionary business owners that feel the calling to do something greater than just build a business. They want to make an impact. They want to create that ripple of impact. But most of the time, they don't know exactly what that ripple is. So we spend the week getting really clear, just bringing you back to who you are. And it's a week of being, not doing. So we go live at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So you've got plenty of time to do what you want to do throughout the day and still run your business. We do like an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. And it just sets you up for your next level of expansion. And it's the catalyst for many ideas. And as a result of launching that, what we're able to then do for people that do want to go into Brand Builders Club, they know exactly where they're starting, and we know exactly how to build a program around them that gets them exactly where they want to go. So it's turned into something that's incredible. We run it for free, but what I do know, based on past experience, is that when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. So we get people to pay a really small fee of just £8, which is around $11, $12. And 100% of that goes to charity. And my speakers, I would usually pay £5,000 to £15,000 for the hour that they're with us, I said to them, hey, look, instead of paying you to come and speak at this event, what if we got 100 global visionary change makers together, each of them pay their money, and we then just divide it across the charities that you nominate. So I get each speaker to nominate a charity across the week, or each movement maker, and then we divide it all and give it to charity. So every month we're giving thousands to charity now as a result of people just investing in their own progress. And it's great because they feel like they're doing something really good for others at the same time as doing something really good for themselves. And what I know about the change makers that come through this process is they may not class themselves as a change maker, but that's really what they are. And I can guarantee that they are spending so much of their time supporting others to move forward that they're not spending hardly any time on their own growth and their own joy. So it's a week of festing, a week of rippling, a week of festing. It's a festival, and we have fun while we do business. And the collaborations and the partnerships, like Mark, I know you're going through it next week. Like, you think Brandalism is good? This is just like wild.
I was just going to say I am a Ripplefest virgin. I am participating next week. I'm also one of the experts speaking on one of the days as well. So if there's anyone out there thinking they want to really take some self-care, work on their vision, be surrounded by incredible people, come and join us. Let me just put the details up once more. Come and join us. I'll be there, Sammy will be there, and there's always amazing people involved. You'll earn friendships, collaborations, and you'll also be supporting charity as well. So join the next quest, www.ripplefestquest.com. And I like that site actually, Sammy. Ryan,
you like it? Yeah, Ripplefest Quest. Yes, it's so much fun. And you know, if people can't make all of the live sessions, it's all recorded through the week, so people can catch up. Doesn't matter where they are in the world. The collaborations just keep going. We launch with a welcome party as well, so everyone gets to know each other before we go into the fest. So yeah, it's just such an honor to be doing what I do, to be able to watch that happen. So and yeah, come and play.
Just 1 week to take out of your schedules just to really work on your own personal growth whilst having fun as well. Sammy, I have thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you. We could go on for another hour. I'll have to get you on again. Thank you so much for being on the Brilliance Business TV show.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
So before we go, just share a word of wisdom to people out there that may be struggling at the moment. The last year has been really hard for people through the pandemic. Maybe people struggling with business, marketing, they're struggling with their brand, their vision. Just give us a word of wisdom.
That's a good one. I think it would be, it is never too late to decide what ripple of impact you want to make.
I like that. Short and sweet. Can you send me the link, please? I would like to join. I can't see who you are at the moment, so please type your name, but I will come into the comments later and I will put the link for you, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next Ripplefest. I'm there.
I look forward to rippling with you.
Brilliant. Sammy, once again, I have just really enjoyed having a great conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Be that ripple.
Be that ripple.
With you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Until next time, bye for now.